So tonight, I'm gonna tell you two stories that gets progressively darker. The way the first story is just so dark, you'd be really surprised that anything can even get darker than that. But just listen and trust me. There's this girl who lives in this little town in Germany with her parents. Now this girl, she's 23 years old and she has a boyfriend who's 25. And she lives with her parents, and her parents are like, she says they're really controlling parents and all that. And so she was getting tired, or she got tired of living with them. Like, man, if you get tired of seeing someone, like you get tired of being around someone, I would assume that what you do is probably stay away from them, or you could go as far as asking them to stay away from you, or maybe even just leave them altogether, like just move or whatever. There's a lot of normal things that you could do, but Sharon doesn't do any of that. She had a very peculiar idea which she planned to execute. Now, how anybody could come up with a plan like this and even get someone to back it up and then go as far as executing it, that's crazy. Now, the plan was she was gonna find a girl who was pretty much about the same age and the same height and complexion as her, and who looked a whole lot like her, and who lived within Germany or close to her, someone who she could set up a meeting with. And during the meeting, somehow she would find a way to kill that person and then make it seem like she's the one who had been killed, and then she'd just go on to live a totally new life. Like, everybody would think that she's dead, and she'll just go out there and just live her life as somebody else. And she tells this plan to her boyfriend, and for whatever reason, he thinks it's a great idea, and he helps her, and they both get onto it. They set to work in it, and she starts to DM a bunch of random girls on Instagram. Now, they were not just random girls, they were girls who she felt like they looked a lot like her, and they could pass as her, and she just starts DMing them. Most of them, from the get-go, they just know that this person is kind of like a troll. They don't trust this person, so they don't reply or they don't agree to any meeting or whatever. But then she writes this girl, Khadija O, and she poses as a beauty influencer, posing that she wanna give Khadija a deal and send her some beauty products so she could review for her. And being a beauty influencer, this is like great news for Khadija because this is what she does. This is her job. So she agrees to a meeting with Sharon. And on the day of the meeting, Sharon, along with her boyfriend, they drive to where Khadija was, and Khadija got in the car and they drove off. Now, somewhere on the way, they veered into a wooded area and they drove into a forest. Then they somehow got Khadija to get out of the car, and Sharon and her boyfriend, Shakir, they just got out and they took turns stabbing Khadija all over her face, all over her body, but most especially her face. The idea was that they were going to try to disfigure her face to the point where she would be unrecognizable, and anyone who comes across the body would think that it's Sharon's body, would think that Sharon was the one who had been killed. And crazy enough, they managed to pull this off. After killing Khadija, they take the body and put it in the backseat of the car, in the backseat of Sharon's car, and they drive it to a residential neighborhood in Ingolstadt, and they dump the car there. A few days without seeing their daughter, Sharon's parents start to worry, and so they call the police and file a missing person report. And soon enough, the police jump on the case, and in no time, they find the car at where Sharon had packed it. And just like she had planned, they find the body inside the car, and on getting her parents to ID the body, they say it's Sharon's body. Now her parents are distraught. It's like it's the end of the world for them. They just lost their daughter. A day after, while the pathologists were performing their autopsy, they find that nothing was matching with Sharon's. The blood work, the dentures, the heights, everything, it just wasn't matching. Like this, there was no way that this body could be Sharon's body. They quickly came to that conclusion. And so they called the police and they report to the police. Being that the body was found in Sharon's car, they quickly opened up an investigation, and Sharon was the prime suspect of it. Sharon, on the other hand, was with her boyfriend, feeling like they had just put off the smartest plan of the century. And the police quickly put out an APB,
An APB is a broadcast message from one police station to all the police officers on duty in a city or a state, basically telling them something. So they put out an APB on Sharon, looking for her, asking whoever finds her to please report, as she could be dangerous. And within a couple hours, they found her and her boyfriend just casually having lunch at a restaurant, and they arrested them. At the moment, the case is still ongoing, but if found guilty, they face life imprisonment for their crimes.